I wasn't happy with the way I was doing unboxing and product reviews, as I couldn't get the right angle for the footage. It was also a pain to set up as I had to organize 2 light stands, 2 cameras, and dealing with the wires everywhere. After some research, I decided to build my own budget-friendly DIY overhead camera rig. Here is a video of my first build. I tried it out, it worked, but the design was flawed, as I couldn't put attachments on it. After some additional sketches, the next day I took it apart and built a more functional and sturdier design. Here is my second design build. As you can see, it's very different from the first one. It's a lot more sturdier, and I can actually put attachments onto this build as well. So here is take 2 of my overhead camera rig. In my previous video that you just saw, the highlight was it had one PVC pipe, and then had just 2 coming down to a metal flange that was holding it down. Even though if I think I clamped that down, the height of it was just too tippy. So what I decided to do was change up the design to incorporate some brackets to make it a little bit stronger. So here are all the different pieces. So I have 2 of these pieces, which will serve as the top part. And now I have 2 rail pieces, or brackets, and then I have 4 1-inch piping that'll act as a bracket in place. What I've also done now is, because of that, I have 4 of these flange nows, and then I am going to about 4 C-clamps and clamp them down to the table to keep it stronger. So that is the plan. So now I'm just going to assemble it, and then I'll show you the final work. For my material, I chose 1-inch diameter PVC piping. It's inexpensive, strong, easy to cut, and there are lots of PVC fittings that I can buy to make my design work. I decided to use threaded caps in my build for 2 reasons. Number 1, I needed to be able to take the overhead rig apart if I needed to move it out of my office or studio, so I needed to be able for it to completely break it down to make some space in my office if I required it. Number 2, I manually cut all the pieces by hand using a hacksaw, which means I'm going to have some uneven cuts and lengths. With using the threaded caps, I can adjust the height of the pieces by screwing in the right depth to make sure it was level with the other pieces to make up for my cutting mistakes. As you watch this video and you find it helpful, please like the video and subscribe to the channel for similar content. Here I am putting the pieces together now to build the overhead rig. I'm going to speed up the footage for the sake of time, but I am going to leave some instructions and some pieces I used at the end of the video showing the different specs of how tall it is, what the width is, what pieces I use. So if you watch the very end, I actually give you a list of all the parts and pieces I use. Here I am starting to build the frame of the camera rig. I decided to go with metal phalanges instead of building up PVC legs for 3 reasons. Number 1, metal phalanges are heavy, which helped keep the rig stable as it's pretty tall. It had pre-drilled holes and gave me options of permanently mounting it to a table if I wanted to. And number 3, it was flat and allowed me to put a C-clamp to it to the table so I know the rig wouldn't move in case I bumped into it. The camera rig is built on top of a 4-foot folding table. It's a pretty light table, and a slight bump or even me walking around the table will shake the camera rig. So by putting a C-clamp on, it will reduce the camera shake. Here's a quick tour of my camera rig after it's been built. You can see it's much sturdier now. I can add many accessories such as a video monitor, as well as an overhead LED light. There's brackets here that can mount additional accessories at a future date, including a microphone. You can see my Philips Hue light. Here are my accessories that I put on. Mounted my Aperture VS2 monitor. It's attached with a small rig clamp and a small rig arm. Using a small rig clamp and adapter, I was able to mount my Godox LED P260C video light. So it shined down on the working surface for great video. My camera mount is using a Rhino camera mount from my Rhino ROV Pro slider. It worked perfectly as I can easily articulate the camera position to anything. Here's my XH1 attached to the camera rig. Here you can see the Rhino adapter. It's easily pop out the XH1. It's held securely in place with the small rig. Another great feature is I can articulate the adapter any way I want if I wanted different views in the future. Tighten the knob. And then slide my camera right back into place, ready to go. So it's very simple, quick, and easy, which is what I liked about it. As I pan over to the right, I have my Godox LED 260C remote control. Now this is fantastic as I don't have to guess what the settings are on top or get on top of a step stool to see what my light settings are. The remote control controls the color temperature, controls the on-off switch, as well as the intensity of the light, and everything is done through this remote. So again, I don't have to climb up and fiddle with the settings. It's I do have a review on this product, and I'll put the card up here so you can see it. And at the bottom here, I have my Philips Hue play lights to add some color to the B-roll footage. It's kind of a nice ambiance as well. It's 43 inches wide. It's 37 inches tall. And in the side brackets, rails is 13 inches wide. I purchased 8 T-joints. There's 4 elbows. 8 threaded end caps, again, is to adjust the height, as well as to be able to take it down. The 4 metal phalanges, which as I talked about. And then also the 4 C-clamps, which I talked about as well. And in total, it was 12 feet of PVC piping. Thank you, and until next time.